Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing God of War 2 on Titan difficulty. This is my no upgrade run plus. We're currently on installment the 10th, and we're going to be rolling across the courtyard over here and using the key of the ram, which we picked up in the last installment, to then open this door. So we can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, but we do have some Cerberus breeders to deal with at the end of this installment, so we are going to have to buckle down for that. But until then, we've got some pretty low-key things that we're doing. And if you remember, at the beginning of installment the 5th, we were met with some cursed legionnaires. Now, the guys down here, the gray guys, the ones with like the gray, like ash-colored skin, those are undead legionnaires. So there's two types of legionnaires in this game: the cursed ones that you can't grab, and then the undead legionnaires down here, which you can grab. And the ones that you want to grab are the ones that I just grabbed there, the undead legionnaires, because when you grab them, he does a circular swing around him 360 degrees like that, and it completely destroys everybody who's around you. See this? It's just, it works even better than the magic, so you don't even have to use magic down here. So if you happen to grab a Fate Sentry, all he does is, hopefully I can demonstrate it, we've seen it time and time again, this, all he does is he just, oh, I executed him with the triangle button. But so try to avoid grabbing these guys, because that's all he does right there. And of course, don't touch the spikes, because it is instant death. I also wanted to apologize for all the profanity that I uttered in the last video. I know that most people don't care about it. I don't care about it too much. I was just coming off the cuffs of that insanely difficult fight that we had to do, which wasn't much of a fight as it was just an escort mission, which it was a fight, but it also wasn't, if you know what I mean. So this is a kind of a cool area. It's I think it's called the Garden of the Gods. So you can interact with all the statues here. You've got Zeus, Ares, Hades, I think Perseus. So you've got a bunch of awesome figureheads over here. You've got a red chest over here, as well as an item box, neither of which we need. And okay, so we're gonna get a save point in a minute. A little flickering of the screen over there because I had some issues with the Elgato software. I was also planning to bring you guys Heavenly Sword, but when I picked it up, and I'm gonna return it, because not only was part of the case inside, the holders, they were broken off inside, but that wasn't really the issue, because I don't care about that. I do care about the gameplay of that game. It's a fantastic game. I covered it on my other channel a long time ago on Hell difficulty, and I was under the impression that it was a game that was running in 60 frames per second, but apparently it's just like a 30 frames per second experience or less. I'm not sure. And I could have abided by that, but at the same time, it's very similar to this game, which is a good thing, although you can't jump in that game for some reason. But the other thing is, it's not as precise as this game. Like, if you want like the penultimate like precision, like this is the best game, well, not the best game, but it's very, very precise. It's why I play these games. But we haven't seen Siren Widows since right before we face Theseus. We'll face some more later in the game. But all you need to do here is sacrifice 3 of these ones. So you want to kill them on either side of the room. It doesn't matter which side you kill them on, but just make sure you don't press the circle button prompt when you see it. And whatever side of the room they're on, go to the opposite side and then pull the lever, and then you're going to be killing 3 of these ones to do the sacrifice that was on the screen a minute ago. And I don't like these ones here. And it's not a, if you're a social justice warrior, you could say, oh, it's a racial thing. No, it's not a fucking racial thing. I don't like them. I don't like the quick time event that they lock you in when they scream and stuff. They're both nuisances, the black one and the white one. these guys are probably even less of nuisances than the white one, but I hate the social justice warriors, like trying to make us like all politically correct. And yeah, there is a place for that, but not to be extremely politically correct and, you know, have to second guess every of our decisions. Okay, so here, this should be the second one. You're only facing one at a time, which is nice. It's an interesting room. We're gonna have a couple of uninteresting rooms, so it's nice that we have one that's pretty cool. I think, yeah, they're not buffered. They're just not buffered. Remember what I said about these guys is a good way to kill them is to launch them, repeatedly press square, and then bounce them with the triangle button, and then on landing press circle to grab and throw. Very good technique. But Heavenly Sword, it's just, not only is it not precise, but it's just like button mashy, and it rewards you for that sometimes, and it's also just, it's just not, it doesn't have the precision in this game, and the low frame rate, as well as the just the dull combat and the convoluted combat. It's just not something that I want to sink my teeth into anymore. I was going to bring it to the channel, and I was going to set aside my prejudice about games that are only in 30 frames per second, and you know, it's just, it had a lot against it, in my opinion. And a long time ago, I would have not even known about, you know, I was just so new to gaming back when I played it originally that, you know, I looked past the frame rate, but I can't anymore because it's just too prominent. Okay, so, and I also wanted to briefly talk about Ghost of Sparta in a minute, but this room does need some explaining, and if I don't get to Ghost of Sparta, we'll talk about it in a subsequent video. But I just wanted to talk about one of the fights in that game that pretty much will never make me able to play that game on Pain Plus. So you're going to be pulling this lever here on the bird and burning down that ice wall, and then revealing, I don't know what you would call that. It's some kind of a pedestal with a half sphere on it. And on the ceiling over here, hanging from the ceiling, are some ice spikes, and we're gonna hit one of them down. You only have to hit one of them down, so don't hit everyone down and waste all your time. It's just not worth it. So I'm gonna be dragging this thing over here to where we need to have it when we get the ice spikes down. So here's a couple of scalable walls here. There's a couple of Minotaur grunts frozen into the ice. We'll be fighting everything in this room, although there's just two things. Here's the spike. That's the only thing you need to hit. And then we're going to be moving this pedestal right onto this light source here. And then the signs on the wall down here, the only ones you have to concern yourself with are the left and middle one here. So the left one has to be an omega sign. The middle one has to be a half moon. And this is all you need to do. So just turn this and put the half moon in the middle there, and then just look for the fatter signs, like the crescent, like the sickle ones. Just ignore those. You want things like that one, the fatter parts of the moon here. And then this should reveal, see, very, very simple. And then the music will change. I don't think you get a checkpoint anywhere, so make sure that you are careful on these grunts that are coming up here. And the only thing you have to do now, if you just want to get out of this room, is you have to burn down the ice that's holding the door in place. So that's all you need to do. For our purposes, that's all I should have done, but I'm always tempted to do everything in these rooms. I mean, all that we're going to reveal here are some red chests, some item chests, maybe a magic chest. I don't think so though, and some grunts, which they're fun to fight. But the orbs that they're going to be giving us, we're never going to use. But we should do all the fights in the game, and we are going to. So all you need to do is just burn down all the walls, or I should say, just melt the ice. The detection on the lever here is not very good. And if you want to, you can fight one grunt at a time or two grunts. I'm just going to fight two grunts at a time. because they're not very difficult, and also the other reason is I don't want to be down here in this little pit as much as I need to. Okay, here's the door that you need to melt the ice on. But this game is the 60 frames per second on this game just makes a precise game even preciser, and there's just nothing more than I love than precision in an action combat game. But yeah, let's talk about Ghost of Sparta, because in the PSP games that went to the Origins collection, they have a different sort of a role that makes one of the fights in Ghost of Sparta really difficult. It makes a lot of the fights in those PSP games difficult, even though see how fair that is? I love that with these guys. But the role is completely, it's lingering. I can't describe it if you've played it before. They completely screwed up the role. And they probably didn't have a choice about it, because it was on the PSP, and I never played that, but it's just really hard to use that role. And when you're depending on a role to get yourself out of jams, it becomes really aggravating. And the fight that will always prevent me from being able to do Ghost of Sparta on Pain Plus is the 3 Gerons near the end of the game. Because they take forever to take down, and you get dealt such massive damage on God difficulty. And I was trying to do it the other day. I unlocked God difficulty, and I got to that fight, and it was just, I cannot do it. It's just crazy. Okay, so these guys are going to give us a little bit of health. We have one more fight before we have to do the Cerberus Breeders, and well, it's not really a fight. It's just a shitty room with a bunch of those nymphs. So what we're gonna do is just might as well get these, and then we'll just leave, and then we're gonna be doing a crummy room, just hands down crummy. So in this room we have a bunch of nests that we need to take care of before we can get out of here, because it will never let us turn this crank completely until we take out all of these little disgusting things down here. And there's nothing worse than falling flat on your face like that. I hope the game thinks that I'm enjoying myself, because I'm not. This is really lame. So when you're up here, you can hit in a slow way. So if they shoot at you and hit you, you will fall down. But I didn't get hit very much over here, and there's 3 nests. So you just want to make sure that you destroy them as quickly as you can, and never mind about the damage, because you will get some health coming up here. And it's a bit of awkward like scaling here. And it should be the 3rd and final nest. I'm using some triangle attacks to do hopefully a little bit more damage to these things. And the music will change once you take the final nest down. And I was about ready to turn the crank down here, knowing full well that I had some of these left, and if I have any of those left, then there's no hope of me turning the crank, so we'll just have to take care of all of them, and I think that is all of them. So now we can freely turn the crank, and this is going to lower a grip point for us, which should take us up to the next area. So there's going to be some health and magic left. Or excuse me, health and magic chests coming up, provided that, if you used health or magic or consumed it, you'll be able to, refill your resources up here prior to the next fight. Okay, guys, so we're going to be moving on to the Cerberus Breeders fight, and I think that this is somehow worse than the translator section, because, hold on a second. because even though the translator section is just a wild, chaotic mess, at least it's not broken. And this is completely fucking broken. So you've got a couple of these guys over here spitting, regurgitating the dogs, and when you kill 2 of the breeders, then you're going to have the juggernauts coming in. And the biggest problem about this is that these guys never stop fucking multiplying, ever. It's so infuriating, this part over here. So what you can do on the dogs is you can grab them and then do the O hold to throw them. You can just bounce them nearby the breeders if you want to. The detection on the grabbing, just every time you grab anything in this fight, it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to even say that I participated in this because it's absolutely abysmal. So Shinobier did a write-up on one of his videos, and he said that if you kill one of the breeders and you have 3 little dogs on the map, when you're killing the first breeder, then you won't have the 3rd one spawning. And I think that's what happened here. No, it could have happened, but I did exactly what he did in his write-up about saying that, and I would still have the dogs spawning even though I had 3 on the map. So it could have been a typo. I'm not sure what he was saying, but at this point, what you need to really do when you're struggling on this is to just make sure that you don't have any of the little puppies out for too long, because they will turn into the larger ones. So just make sure that you prioritize taking the puppies out before you go in for these executions. And then that is not usually how it goes. I've had 2 of these guys with 5 of the Cerberus breeders, and at that point you just have to say to hell with it and just reset the checkpoint. Now you're going to see some really cowardly play over here because I don't trust this enemy whatsoever, because it does something to you that trips you and breaks your guard. I don't know what the hell it is. They switched me to my hammer over here for no reason. I did not select the hammer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the safe route over here, because I've tried to melee with these guys so many times after clearing those dogs, which is one of the hardest tasks in this game, of making sure that those dogs don't fucking multiply. It's so broken, you guys. I can't even begin to even like relay to you every little detail and nuance of why it's actually broken. But it's mainly the detection of the grabs is what it is, and just the nonsense of zero communication from the game, having no real basis of what to do here. Because I'm okay with a small element of mystery in a game like this, but when like none of the rules are steady fast, you know, like what Shinobi was saying about having the 3 puppies out and killing the first one and having the 3rd one not spawn. It happened and it didn't happen, so I had no consistent result there. So, you know, and every time I would get to these guys, I would, you know, try to melee with them at close range with the hammer and with this weapon. But for some reason, these fucking bastards, they trip you. I don't know what it is, guys, but they somehow trip you and break your guard. I don't know what it is, because these are not the Hades juggernauts. These are, I believe, I'm going to have to consult the bestiary, and maybe I'll leave an annotation in the video at some point, but these ones are to be taken with some caution here, because just getting the fucking dogs out of here is so goddamn difficult. I can't describe it because they keep multiplying. So what I'll say about that, guys, is do distributive. What worked for me was distributive damage, like evening out, like when the dogs have the circle button prompts, like executing them in tandem, and doing the collision with the dogs and throwing the dogs at them, and making sure that none of the dogs can grow to the full size ones. But it's just not consistent. It's it's embarrassing, like I said. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna outrun these guys in this arena, and I'm just going to do the super plim at range, because I don't trust these enemies at all. I don't know what they do. It's completely unfair though, because the game works on the block system where nothing is supposed to like trip you and break your guard. This isn't Ninja Gaiden or something like that, you know, because if there were some sort of a rule subset about that, that's fine, but there isn't. That's not how this game works. You don't get tripped by things. So to get here and to die, like I would have lost it. This took around 4 to 5 hours. It wasn't that bad. It was still really, really frustrating though, and I was like, my palms were sweating so much on the controller at this point. I was so terrified of dying here, because it's so hard to get here. And then that's going to conclude this installment, guys. A couple of back-to-back really nonsense parts, and some of my respect has gone down for this game coming to a no upgrade run, because the way that I just can't get past the way that the third game is built so well for the no upgrade run and for the pain runs. And then when you come back to a game like this, it's incredibly difficult to do them without upgrading. So I want to say that, you know, I'm very sorry that this had to be a cowardly showcase here, but when it gets to the point where you'll do anything, like anything to win, you know, however cowardly it looks, like there's a big issue with the difficulty. And again, it switched me to the hammer, and I didn't press L2 or R2, whatever it is. I did not press it. And this super plim is not doing a very good job either. But I'll take it. I'll take it as opposed to being dead. So I broke a little bit of his armor. I think I have enough of the rage to maybe use it, but I'm not gonna. The rage is shit. Absolute fucking shit. Anything that's supposed to be really powerful like that, but allows you to still get hit when you use it, is just garbage and just completely overrated. But fortunately, I don't know if these guys are programmed to taunt a little bit more here to maybe lessen how difficult this is by not rushing you too much. But I don't know about that. It just seems like that was the case. Look at that. See, what the fuck was that? He took some of my health, and I think I'm going to get a little bit more of mine taken off. It doesn't matter, because anything is going to kill me. Yeah, what a nightmare. And I think these are the ones on the loom chamber. So for some reason, these guys, it could be when they do their charge too, that they trip you. I can't describe what it is, but something breaks your guard when you're guarding. And that's not how this game works. I'm sorry, but that's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to yeah, and I've lost a little. He somehow clipped me. So you can imagine my terror over here. Fortunately, they're not too fast, but, you know, and any small mistake, anything, will be my undoing over here. So we've got a circle button prompt here. I'm gonna very carefully go up to this guy and take him down, and then try to finish off this guy. You saw the scrap of health that they gave us. Not enough to withstand any sort of blow. Maybe some clipping, but we can't rely on that. Yeah, this is. See, the super plim is probably hitting him a little bit, but it's, yeah, that one probably missed. So I'm really just relying on yeah, see, again, I don't know if that hit him either. I'm taking anything at this point, just anything to just get out of this room. I hated this room, and it's a really disgraceful fight. I think in the past I've respected it, but no more, just no more. Like, you have no idea how bad the detection is on when you're grabbing the dogs. when you're fighting the Cerberus breeder in God of War 3, like the level of dependability there compared to how shitty this one is laughable. Laughable. So he's done, which is good because that means we're done finally after God knows how many hours of frustration over there. And we're going to climb the ladder and save our progress.